The house felt different the day his brother arrived. Conversations stopped when I entered rooms. Doors closed quietly behind me. One night, I stayed awake long enough to hear the truth spoken out loud. My dear listeners, before we step into this story, let me ask you something simple. If real-life stories and the fight for truth matter to you, please subscribe, like the video, and tell me in the comments. From which city are you listening? I read every comment, and it's incredible to see this little family growing across cities and communities. All right, settle in. Your story begins now. Let me take you back to when I thought my husband's brother was just going through a rough patch, when I didn't realize his arrival would destroy everything I'd built. My name is Vanessa, 30 years old, dark brown skin with natural hair I wore in various styles, usually twist-outs or sleek buns for work. I worked as a bank branch manager in Atlanta, making $78,000 a year. Good career I'd worked hard for, managing a team of 12, overseeing daily operations. I lived in a 4-bedroom house in the Cascade Heights neighborhood with my husband Derek, $2,850 mortgage every month. Beautiful house we'd bought 3 years ago, renovated ourselves, made into our dream home. We'd been married for 4 years, together for 6 total. Derek was 33, light brown skin with a fade and well-groomed beard. Worked as an engineer at a manufacturing company, making about $95,000 annually. Smart, ambitious, devoted husband who I'd fallen in love with at a friend's wedding where we were both in the bridal party. Had our first date at Staple House 3 days later, $128.45 for dinner, talked until the restaurant closed. Got married at a beautiful ceremony at the Biltmore Ballrooms, $22,400 total for everything including reception. His younger brother Marcus moved in with us on July 15th of last year. He was 28, medium brown skin, usually kept his hair in short locks, had been working as a graphic designer making around $52,000 but lost his job in June. Lost his apartment 2 weeks later when he couldn't make rent. Called Derek asking for help. "It'll just be temporary," Derek said when he asked me about Marcus staying with us. It was a Sunday morning, July 9th. We were having breakfast in our kitchen. Scrambled eggs, turkey bacon, wheat toast, fresh fruit, $31.89 in groceries from Whole Foods. Sun streaming through the windows, temperature already at 79 degrees even at 9:23 a.m. Just until he finds a new job and gets back on his feet. 2 months max. "We have the space," I said, looking around our large kitchen. "The guest room upstairs is just sitting empty. Of course he can stay." "You're amazing, you know that?" Derek kissed my forehead. "Marcus is going through a hard time. Lost his girlfriend same week he lost his job. He needs family right now." "Then family is what we'll give him." Marcus arrived on July 15th, a Saturday afternoon. Derek and I helped him move his things from a storage unit, $147 for the rental truck. He didn't have much: bedroom furniture, clothes, computer equipment for his design work, boxes of personal items. We set up the guest bedroom on the 2nd floor, across the hall from our master bedroom. "Thanks for letting me crash here," Marcus said when we'd finished, sitting on his new bed at 4:47 p.m. "I know it's not ideal, having your brother-in-law underfoot." "Your family," I said. "Stay as long as you need." "Hopefully not long. I've got some interviews lined up this week. Should have a new gig soon." He seemed normal that first day. Grateful, a bit embarrassed about his situation, but normal. Derek made dinner: grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, rice, $42.67 in groceries, and the 3 of us ate together on our back patio at 7:15 p.m., watching the sunset, talking about Marcus's job prospects and what kind of work he wanted to do next. But things changed quickly. The first week, Marcus was quiet, stayed in his room most of the time, went out for interviews. But by the 2nd week, he was more present, always in the common areas when Derek and I were there, always inserting himself into our conversations, always there. "Hey guys, what are we watching?" he'd ask, plopping down on the couch between Derek and me while we were trying to watch a movie on a Friday night at 9:34 p.m. "Just a documentary," Derek would say. "Want to join?" "Sure, sounds good." And he'd stay through the whole movie, then suggest we watch another one, until it was midnight and I was exhausted from work and just wanted to go to bed with my husband, but Marcus was still there. "Baby, I'm tired," I'd tell Derek. "I'm going up." "I'll be there in a bit. Marcus and I are going to finish this episode." But Derek wouldn't come to bed for another hour, 2 hours sometimes. I'd wake up at 2:17 a.m. and he still wouldn't be there. I'd go downstairs and find him and Marcus in the living room, talking quietly, drinking beer, their conversation stopping abruptly when I appeared. "Everything okay?" I'd ask. "Yeah, babe, just catching up with my brother. Go back to bed, I'll be up soon." "It's 2 in the morning." "I know, sorry, we'll keep it down." By August, a month into Marcus living with us, Derek's behavior had changed noticeably. He was distant with me, distracted, would forget conversations we'd had, miss dates we'd planned, spent most of his time with Marcus instead of me. "We were supposed to go to dinner tonight," I said one Friday evening at 6:47 p.m., August 11th. I was dressed up, navy dress, heels, makeup done, standing in our bedroom while Derek lounged on the bed in jeans and a t-shirt, scrolling his phone. "Oh, was that tonight? I thought it was next Friday." "Derek, we've had reservations at Gun Show for 3 weeks. I reminded you this morning. Can we reschedule? Marcus and I were thinking about catching a movie." "You're choosing a movie with your brother over our date night." "It's not choosing, it's just, he's going through a lot right now. I want to support him." "What about supporting your wife? We haven't had a date night in a month." "We live together. We see each other every day." "That's not the same as quality time together." "You're being dramatic. We'll do dinner next week." But next week came and the same thing happened. Derek forgot, or made plans with Marcus, or was too tired from hanging out with Marcus all day. Our marriage was being pushed aside for his brother. In September, I started noticing other changes. Derek would come to bed late, after I was already asleep, would wake up before me, be downstairs with Marcus before I got up for work. I'd come home from the bank at 5:43 p.m. and they'd be in the living room or basement, talking quietly, their conversation stopping when I walked in. "What were you guys discussing?" I'd ask. "Just stuff," Derek would say. "Nothing important." Sounded serious. "Nah, just talking about job leads for Marcus. How was work?" And he'd change the subject. Every time. Like he was hiding something. I started paying more attention. Noticed that doors would close when I came upstairs. Noticed whispered conversations in the kitchen that stopped when I entered. Noticed Marcus and Derek exchanging looks I couldn't interpret. "Are you guys okay?" I asked Derek one night in mid-September, September 18th. We were in bed at 11:47 p.m., both in our pajamas, lights off. First time we'd been alone together in what felt like weeks. "Yeah, why?" "You seem different, distant, like something's bothering you." "I'm just worried about Marcus. He's still struggling to find work." "It's been 2 months. Maybe he needs to expand his search. Look outside Atlanta. He wants to stay here, be close to family." "Derek, he's 28 years old. He can't live with us forever." "I know, just give him a little more time." But a little more time turned into October, then November. Marcus still hadn't found a job, still lived in our guest room, still monopolized Derek's time and attention. Our marriage was suffering. We barely talked anymore, hadn't been intimate in over a month, existed more as roommates than spouses. "This isn't working," I told my best friend Kennedy when we met for lunch on November 8th at Buttermilk Kitchen, $47.83 for both of us. She had her hair in long box braids, wore a rust-colored sweater, worked as a physical therapist making $72,000. "Marcus has been living with us for 4 months. Derek has completely changed. It's like he's prioritizing his brother over me." "Have you talked to Derek about it?" "I've tried. He just says Marcus needs support, needs more time. But Kennedy, something feels off. The way they act around me, stopping conversations, closing doors, these secretive looks. I don't know what's going on, but I know it's not good." "Maybe they're planning something, like a surprise for you." "For 4 months, that doesn't make sense." "Then what do you think it is?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." That night, November 8th, I decided to stay awake. Pretend to be asleep, but actually listen to what Derek and Marcus were doing after they thought I was out. I went to bed at 10:45 p.m. like normal. Derek came up at 11:30 p.m., changed into his pajamas, climbed into bed beside me. I kept my breathing deep and steady, pretending to sleep. At 12:17 a.m., he carefully got out of bed. I heard him putting on his robe, heard him leave the bedroom, pulling the door almost closed behind him, heard his footsteps going downstairs. I waited 5 minutes, then carefully got out of bed myself, tiptoed to our bedroom door, opened it just a crack. Could hear voices from downstairs, Derek and Marcus in the living room talking. I crept to the top of the stairs, sat down on the top step in the darkness, listened. "I can't keep doing this," Derek's voice. Stressed, upset. "It's eating me alive." "You have to," Marcus replied. "We're in this together now, no backing out." "But she's my wife. I love her. This is destroying our marriage." "Your marriage is the least of your problems, bro. You really want to go to prison." "Because that's what happens if this comes out." My heart started pounding. Prison? What were they talking about? "We should have never done it," Derek said. "I've been sick about it since that night." "Too late now. It's done. We just have to keep our heads down, act normal, and in a few months when everything blows over, I'll move out and you can get back to your perfect life." Nothing's going to be perfect after this. I can barely look at Vanessa without feeling guilty. "Then don't look at her. Just ride this out." What had they done? What night were they talking about? What was Derek feeling guilty about? I sat there frozen, listening to them discuss covering something up, hiding something, waiting for it to blow over. My mind raced through possibilities. Was it illegal? Was Derek involved in something criminal? Had they hurt someone? Then Marcus said something that made my blood run cold. "She's never going to find out unless you tell her. And if you tell her, you're dragging her into it too, making her an accessory." "You want that? You want your wife involved in this?" "No, God no, I want her safe. I want her untouched by this." "Then keep your mouth shut. We stick to the story. We were at home that whole night, together, playing video games. If anyone asks, that's what we say." An alibi? They were creating an alibi. For what? I stayed there listening for another 20 minutes. They talked about news coverage, about police investigations, about making sure their stories matched. But they never said specifically what they'd done. Just kept referring to that night and what happened. Finally, at 1:03 a.m., I heard them getting ready to come upstairs. I crept back to our bedroom quickly, climbed into bed, got my breathing steady and deep like I'd been sleeping. Derek came in at 1:07 a.m., got back in bed carefully, settled in beside me. I could feel the tension radiating off him. Hear his breathing, not the relaxed breathing of someone about to sleep, but the quick, shallow breathing of someone stressed. I lay there the rest of the night, unable to sleep, my mind racing. What had my husband done? What had Marcus convinced him to do? And how long had this been going on? The next morning, November 9th, I called in sick to work. First time in 2 years. Told my assistant manager I had a migraine, needed the day. After Derek left for work at 7:52 a.m. and Marcus left for a supposed job interview at 8:30 a.m., I started searching the house. I didn't know what I was looking for exactly. Evidence of something. Anything that would explain what I'd heard. I started in Marcus's room. Went through his drawers, his closet, under his bed. Found normal stuff, clothes, electronics, design portfolios, nothing suspicious. Then I found his laptop. It was in his nightstand drawer, password protected. I tried a few obvious passwords, his birthday, his name, common passwords. Nothing worked. I moved to Derek's home office. He had a desktop computer there for personal use. I logged in, knew his password, had used his computer before. Started looking through his files, his emails, his browser history. Found the local news websites bookmarked. Clicked through them. Top story from July 14th, the day before Marcus moved in. Hit and run in East Atlanta leaves 1 dead. Police seeking information. I clicked on the article. Read it with my heart pounding. A pedestrian was struck and killed by a vehicle on Moreland Avenue on the night of July 13th around 11:47 p.m. The victim, identified as Robert Michaels, 42, was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver fled. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Vehicle believed to be a dark-colored sedan with front-end damage. July 13th, 2 days before Marcus moved in. The day Derek said Marcus lost his apartment, had nowhere else to go, I searched for more articles, found follow-ups dated throughout July and August. Police still searching for hit and run suspect. Family offers $10,000 reward. Hit and run victim's widow makes emotional plea for information. Investigation continues in fatal hit and run. No suspects identified. The most recent article was from October 28th. Hit and run case goes cold. Police have no leads. I sat at Derek's desk, pieces clicking into place. Marcus moved in July 15th. The hit and run happened July 13th, 2 days before. Derek and Marcus creating an alibi for that night. Talking about police investigations, news coverage, keeping quiet. Marcus had killed someone, hit and run, and Derek was helping him cover it up. I felt sick. Got up from the desk, went to the bathroom, dry heaved over the toilet. My husband was an accessory to vehicular manslaughter, maybe murder if Marcus had been drunk or high. They'd been lying about it for 4 months, creating alibis, hiding evidence. I needed proof. More than just overheard conversation and news articles, I needed something concrete. I went back to Marcus's room, looked at his car keys on his dresser. He drove a dark blue Honda Accord, dark-colored sedan. I grabbed the keys, went outside to the driveway where his car was parked, walked around it slowly, looking at the front end. It had been repaired recently. I could see the new paint didn't quite match the older paint on the rest of the car. The front bumper was new, slightly different shade of blue. The right headlight was newer than the left, recently repaired front-end damage, dark-colored sedan, timeline matching the hit and run. I took photos of everything with my phone, the mismatched paint, the new bumper, the new headlight, the repair work that someone had tried to make seamless but couldn't quite hide. Then I went back inside, put Marcus's keys back exactly where I'd found them, and called Kennedy. "I need to meet you, right now. Can you take a late lunch?" "What's wrong? You sound upset." "I'll explain when I see you, please." We met at Piedmont Park at 2:17 p.m. Found a bench away from other people, sat in the November sunshine, 68 degrees, beautiful day that felt completely wrong given what I'd discovered. "Derek and Marcus are covering up a hit and run," I said. "Marcus killed someone, July 13th. Derek's been helping him hide it." I told her everything, the overheard conversation, the news articles, the repaired car damage, all of it. Kennedy sat there stunned. "You need to go to the police." "And tell them what? That I overheard a vague conversation and my brother-in-law's car has new paint. That's not enough. They'll question Derek and Marcus. They'll deny everything, and then I'll be living with 2 people who know I tried to turn them in." "So what are you going to do?" "I need more evidence, something concrete, then I'll go to the police." "Vanessa, this is dangerous. If they killed someone and Derek's covering it up, what makes you think they won't hurt you to keep you quiet?" "Derek wouldn't hurt me." "Are you sure? Because 4 months ago you would have said Derek wouldn't help cover up a murder either." She was right. I didn't know what my husband was capable of anymore. That evening, when Derek came home at 6:34 p.m., I acted normal. Asked about his day, told him about my migraine, made dinner, chicken stir-fry, rice, $28.91 in groceries from Kroger. We ate with Marcus at 7:15 p.m., all of us making small talk about work and job searches and what to watch on TV later. I studied my husband's face across the table. He looked tired, stressed, guilty, but he smiled at me when our eyes met, asked if I was feeling better, touched my hand gently. This man I loved, who I'd built a life with, was lying to me every day, harboring a criminal, helping cover up a death, and I didn't know how to process that. After dinner, while Derek and Marcus were in the living room watching basketball, I went up to our bedroom, sat on the bed trying to figure out my next move. I needed evidence, real evidence. But how? Then I remembered Derek's car had a dashcam. He'd installed it 2 years ago after someone hit his car in a parking lot and drove off. It recorded continuously when the car was on, saved files to an SD card. If Derek had driven anywhere with Marcus on July 13th, it would be recorded. I waited until 10:52 p.m. when Derek went to take a shower, snuck out to the garage where his car was parked, opened the driver's door, found the dashcam mounted on the windshield, popped out the SD card, replaced it with a blank one I'd found in Derek's office, went back inside. Took the SD card to my laptop in our bedroom, downloaded all the files. There were hundreds, months of driving footage. I scrolled back to July 13th, found files from that day, started watching. 7:23 a.m., Derek leaving for work, normal commute. 5:47 p.m., Derek driving home from work. Normal route. Then at 9:15 p.m., Derek leaving the house again, driving through neighborhoods I didn't recognize, pulling up to a house. Marcus coming out, getting in the passenger seat. 9:47 p.m., Derek and Marcus at a liquor store, going in, coming out with bags, getting back in the car. 10:23 p.m., driving through East Atlanta. Marcus drinking from a bottle in the passenger seat. 10:51 p.m., stopped at a red light. Marcus saying something, Derek laughing. 11:34 p.m., still driving. Marcus clearly drunk now, slurring words I couldn't quite hear through the dashcam audio. Then Derek pulling over, getting out of the driver's seat. Marcus getting out of the passenger seat. They're switching places. Marcus is getting behind the wheel even though he's visibly intoxicated. Derek getting in the passenger seat, saying something to Marcus. Marcus laughing, starting the car. 11:46 p.m., Marcus driving erratically, swerving slightly. Derek telling him to slow down, be careful. 11:47 p.m., driving down Moreland Avenue. A figure at the crosswalk up ahead. Marcus not slowing down. Derek shouting, "MARCUS, watch out." The impact, the sound of it, the dashcam shaking from the collision, a body flying over the hood, landing on the pavement behind them. Marcus slamming on the brakes. The car screeching to a stop. Derek, oh my God, what did you do?" Marcus, I didn't see him, I swear I didn't see him. Derek, we have to call 911, we have to help him. Marcus, we can't. I'm drunk, Derek, I'll go to prison. Derek, someone could be dying back there. Marcus getting out of the driver's seat, running back to where the body is, off camera. Derek sitting in the passenger seat, head in his hands. Marcus coming back 2 minutes later, getting in the car. Marcus, he's dead. There's nothing we can do. Derek, we can't just leave him. Marcus, we have to. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but I can't go to prison. Please, Derek, please. Marcus driving away, speeding, Derek crying in the passenger seat. The footage ended. I sat there staring at my laptop screen, tears streaming down my face. Derek hadn't killed anyone, Marcus had, but Derek had been there, had helped him flee, had become an accessory by not calling police, not reporting it, helping Marcus hide. And for 4 months they'd been living with this secret, creating alibis, waiting for the case to go cold, using our home as a hiding place. I copied all the footage to a flash drive. 3 copies, one for the police, one for a lawyer, one hidden in my safety deposit box at my bank. Then I had to decide what to do. I could go to the police immediately, turn over the footage. Derek and Marcus would be arrested. Derek would probably get a reduced sentence for cooperating, but he'd still face charges. Our marriage would be over, our life together destroyed. Or I could confront Derek first, give him a chance to turn himself in. Maybe that would earn him leniency. Maybe I could salvage something from this disaster. I chose to confront him. One last chance for honesty between us. The next morning, November 10th, Saturday, I asked Marcus to give us some time alone. Hey, Marcus, would you mind running some errands this morning? Derek and I need to have a private conversation. He looked between us, suspicious. What kind of conversation? Marriage stuff, nothing you need to worry about. He left reluctantly at 9:47 a.m., said he'd be gone a couple hours. As soon as his car pulled out of the driveway, I turned to Derek. We were in the living room, him on the couch, me in the armchair across from him. I know about July 13th, I said. His face went white. What? I know about the hit and run. I know Marcus killed Robert Michaels. I know you were there. I know you helped him cover it up. Vanessa. Don't lie to me. I have the dashcam footage. I've seen everything. He put his head in his hands, started crying. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you so many times. Why didn't you? Because I was ashamed. Because I didn't want you to know what I'd done, what I'd become. Tell me exactly what happened that night. And he did, told me everything. How he and Marcus had gone out drinking. How Marcus wanted to drive even though Derek said no. How Derek had been drinking too, wasn't thinking clearly, let Marcus drive. How the accident happened so fast. How Marcus panicked. How Derek wanted to call 911, but Marcus begged him not to, said he'd go to prison, said their mother would be devastated. "He's my little brother," Derek sobbed. "I've protected him his whole life. In that moment, I couldn't send him to prison. I couldn't do it." "So you helped him cover up a man's death instead." I know it was wrong. I've been sick about it every day since. I can barely sleep. Can barely eat. It's destroying me." "A man died, Derek. A husband, a father. His family deserves justice." "I know, you're right. What do you want me to do?" I pulled out my phone, opened up the contact for a criminal defense attorney Kennedy had recommended, Sharon Mitchell, highly regarded, $5,000 retainer. "You're going to call this lawyer. You're going to tell her everything. You're going to cooperate with police and turn yourself in. You're going to do the right thing, even though it's 4 months too late. And us, our marriage." I looked at this man I'd loved for 6 years, who I'd built a home with, planned a future with, who I'd trusted completely. I don't know if we can come back from this." He called the lawyer that afternoon at 2:17 p.m., made an appointment for Monday morning. Then he called Marcus, told him to come home, they needed to talk. Marcus came back at 3:34 p.m., walked into the living room to find Derek and me sitting there, faces serious. "What's going on?" he asked. "Vanessa knows," Derek said. "She has the dashcam footage from that night. It's over, Marcus. We have to turn ourselves in." Marcus's face went from confused to panic to angry in seconds. "You told her. Are you insane?" "She already knew. She found the footage." "So what? You're just going to ruin both our lives. Send us both to prison." "We should have done the right thing that night. We're doing it now." No way. I'm not going to prison for an accident." "You killed someone and fled the scene. That's not an accident, that's a crime. And I helped you. We both have to answer for that." "I'm leaving." Marcus started toward the stairs. "I'm packing my stuff and getting out of here before you do something stupid." "Marcus." "Don't follow me. Don't try to stop me. I'm gone." He went upstairs. We heard him in his room, throwing things into bags. 20 minutes later, he came down with 2 duffel bags and his laptop. "If you turn me in, I'll never forgive you," he said to Derek. "You're my brother. You're supposed to have my back." "I did have your back for 4 months, but this has to end." Marcus left at 4:47 p.m., got in his car, the car with the repaired front end, the car that had killed someone, and drove away. "Should we call the police now?" I asked Derek. "Tell them he's fleeing." "No, let him run. He won't get far. And it'll be better for me in the long run if I cooperate fully, turn myself in voluntarily, rather than being arrested." Derek met with the lawyer Sharon Mitchell on Monday morning, November 13th at 9:00 a.m. I went with him, sat in her office while he explained everything, showed her the dashcam footage, admitted his role. "You're looking at leaving the scene of an accident, obstruction of justice, accessory after the fact," she said when he finished at 10:47 a.m. "With full cooperation and the fact that you weren't driving, we might be able to negotiate a plea deal. Maybe 3 to 5 years, depending on the prosecutor." "And Marcus?" "He's looking at vehicular manslaughter, DUI, leaving the scene. Probably 10 to 15 years minimum." Derek's hands were shaking. "When do we go to police?" "Today, this afternoon. I'll accompany you. We'll make a full statement, turn over the evidence, cooperate completely." We went to the police station at 2:17 p.m. Detective Raymond Cooper, a black man in his 50s, took Derek's statement, watched the dashcam footage, asked hundreds of questions over 3 hours. "Where is Marcus Hayes now?" he asked. "I don't know. He left Saturday when he found out we were turning ourselves in." "We'll issue a warrant for his arrest. Mr. Hayes, you're under arrest for leaving the scene of an accident and obstruction of justice. You have the right to remain silent." They cuffed Derek, took him to booking. Sharon posted his bail 3 hours later, $25,000, 10% to the bondsman, $2,500 total. He came home at 3:34 p.m., looking devastated. "I'm so sorry," he said when we got inside. "I'm so sorry I put you through this." "I'm sorry too. Sorry you made the choices you made." "Are you leaving me?" I'd been asking myself that question for 3 days. Didn't have a good answer. "I don't know. I need time to think, time to process everything." I moved into our guest room that night. The room Marcus had occupied for 4 months. Slept in the bed where a killer had slept. Stared at the ceiling trying to figure out if my marriage was salvageable. Marcus was arrested 5 days later in Birmingham, Alabama. Pulled over for a broken taillight, ran his name, found the warrant. Extradited back to Atlanta to face charges. His trial came first in March. I attended every day, sat in the gallery watching. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. The dashcam footage, the repaired car matching the description, witnesses who saw a dark sedan speeding away from the scene, phone records showing Marcus and Derek were together that night. Marcus was convicted of vehicular manslaughter, DUI causing death, and leaving the scene of an accident. Sentenced to 14 years in prison on April 3rd. Derek's trial was in May. He took a plea deal, testified against Marcus, showed full cooperation, expressed remorse. The judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison on May 18th, with possibility of parole after 2. "Mr. Hayes, you made a terrible choice that night," Judge Williams said at sentencing. "You chose loyalty to your brother over loyalty to the law and to a victim who deserved help. But I do acknowledge your cooperation and eventual willingness to do the right thing. I hope you use your time in prison to reflect on the cost of that loyalty." Derek was led away in handcuffs, looked back at me one time, mouthed, "I love you." I didn't say it back. I filed for divorce in June. Couldn't stay married to someone who'd lied to me for months, who'd helped cover up a death, who'd chosen his brother over doing the right thing. Over me. The divorce was finalized in September, 8 months after I'd stayed awake and heard the truth. I kept the house. Derek signed it over to me as part of the settlement. Sold it 3 months later for $385,000, couldn't live there anymore with all those memories. Robert Michael's widow Linda reached out to me in October, asked if we could meet. We had coffee at Octane, $11.25 for both drinks, sat outside even though it was getting cold. "Thank you for coming forward," she said, tears in her eyes. "If you hadn't found that footage, they never would have been caught. My husband's death would have stayed unsolved forever. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry it took 4 months. You didn't know, and when you found out, you did the right thing. That takes courage." We stayed in touch after that. She told me about Robert, how he'd been a teacher, how he had 2 kids, how he'd been walking home from a friend's house that night, how his death had devastated their family, but knowing what happened, seeing justice served, had given them some peace. I started therapy in November with Dr. Angela Washington, a Black woman in her 40s who specialized in trauma and betrayal. Her office was in Buckhead, $175 per session with my insurance. "Your husband's betrayal was multifaceted," she said in our first session on November 21st, exactly 1 year and 8 days after I'd overheard that conversation. "He betrayed you by lying, betrayed you by choosing his brother over your marriage, betrayed you by making you complicit once you knew, by putting you in a position where you had to choose between loyalty and justice. I keep wondering if I could have done something differently, found out sooner, prevented some of this pain." You did exactly what you needed to do when you had the information. That's all any of us can do. By the following spring, 18 months after everything happened, I'd rebuilt. New apartment in Virginia Highland, $1,950 per month, 1 bedroom, no memories. New job as a regional manager for the bank, $92,000 salary, promotion I'd earned through hard work. New life that was fully mine. Derek wrote me letters from prison. I read them, didn't respond to most. He apologized, said he understood why I left, said he hoped someday I could forgive him. I wasn't there yet, might never be. Marcus never wrote, never apologized. From what I heard through mutual connections, he still blamed Derek for turning him in. Blamed me for finding the evidence. Took no responsibility for the life he'd taken. In June, 2 years after Marcus moved in and 19 months after I divorced Derek, I met someone. His name was Anthony, a lawyer I met through work. We had dinner at Staple House, the same restaurant where Derek and I had our first date, and I didn't feel guilty about it. I was married before, I told him on our third date. It ended badly. Most marriages that end do end badly, he said with a kind smile. Want to talk about it? Not yet, but someday. I'm patient. By that fall, Derek had been in prison for a year and a half, had another 6 months until he was eligible for parole. He wrote asking if I'd write a letter to the parole board supporting his release. I thought about it for 2 weeks. Finally wrote, Derek Hayes made a terrible choice that cost a man his life and destroyed our marriage. But he eventually did the right thing by cooperating with police and accepting responsibility. I believe he's genuinely remorseful. Whether that remorse is enough to warrant early release is not for me to say. Neutral, neither supporting nor opposing, just honest. He was granted parole in March, released after serving 2 years and 2 months of his 4-year sentence. Called me the day he got out. Thank you for the letter. I know you didn't have to do that. You're welcome. What are your plans? Halfway house for 6 months while I look for work. Parole requires employment. Then, I don't know, rebuild somehow. I hope you do. I hope you find a way forward. Do you think we could ever? No, we're done, Derek. I wish you well, but we're done. I understand. Take care of yourself, Vanessa. You too. That was the last time we spoke. Looking back now, 3 years after his brother moved in and 2.5 years after I heard that conversation in the dark, I can see how everything changed that July. How one terrible decision, Marcus driving drunk, Derek helping him flee, created a ripple effect that destroyed multiple lives. Here's what I want you to understand. If something feels wrong in your home, investigate. Don't ignore your instincts. I felt the change in Derek, noticed the secretive behavior, knew something was off. I was right. Stay awake for the truth. Sometimes, literally, staying awake that night, hearing that conversation was what broke everything open. Sometimes you have to push past the comfortable lies to get to the hard reality. And know that doing the right thing is often the hardest thing. Turning over that evidence meant destroying my marriage, sending my husband to prison, upending my life. But a man had died. His family deserved justice. That had to matter more than my comfort. Derek is out now, rebuilding his life somewhere. Marcus has 10 more years on his sentence. Linda Michaels has found some peace. And I have a new life, a new relationship, a new understanding of what loyalty really means. My husband changed after his brother moved in. And I found out why too late to save our marriage, but just in time to save my integrity.